Your top political stories of the week. Biden needs a physical. COVID officially not an emergency anymore. AOC gets possessed by a preacher. And more. I'm Dani, and this is the Just Dani Show.
I haven't. Look.
Let's get ready to bumble!
I think it's a right for people to have bad health care. True internet suffered depression. God, I can't believe I said that. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word.
Y'all ready for this?
I was going to foot. And Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. Wait. All men and women created by the go. You know the thing. If you hold near and dear to you that you like to be able to. Anyway. We went for two reasons. One, to man. The guy who runs that outfit over there. I've had a couple Washingtons, but the nature, not Representative Jackie. Are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
Y'all ready for this?
What am I doing here? Tucker. Yeah.
That's all, folks.
As the White House reaches its deadline for Biden's latest physical, and of course as he mulls for a 2024 run when he's not busy looking for pudding, that is, Republican Tennessee Representative Scott Jarlis, who's also a former doctor, is calling on Dementia Joe to undergo a cognitive test and told the Washington Examiner, quote, "I think it'd be important to see a very thorough and comprehensive cognitive function study that is released with transparency to the general public. The American people want to know that their commander-in-chief is fully capable of performing at the highest level to protect the safety and security of the nation." What with all of Biden's gaffes, incoherent mumbling, and creepy whispering he's been doing, I'm pretty sure it's valid. After all, what's the White House worried about? Obviously something, because initially his physical was said to be completed by the end of last year, followed by the ever so honest Corinne Jean, I check all the boxes Pierre, saying it would happen in January. Currently, though, it's looking like February 16th, which is more than 2 weeks later than the White House previously said that it would be done. A White House spokesperson noted the delay was, quote, just a matter of scheduling around what has been a busy and evolving travel schedule in recent weeks. Biden. He's just been so darn busy to be bothered. He's all over doing horse shit. Where you at, Biden?
Byron! That's for Byron!
Hey, shut up! Be quiet, listen!
Too busy saving the world or just Ukraine? P.S. By the way, Biden's only presidential physical so far was disclosed back in November 19 of 2020 by Dr. Kevin O'Connor, who was the president's doctor. And he declared that Biden was a healthy, vigorous 78-year-old, but didn't indicate if any cognitive tests were performed, or for that matter, a colonoscopy, where they might find a spare cup of pudding or one of Hunter's crack pipes, no pun intended. Or hey, maybe more classified documents. That would be pretty shitty. Well, Biden has finally decided to end the COVID-19 bullshit, more specifically, the emergency declarations on May 11th. Even though most of the people with a brain and not suffocating themselves with useless designer Disney masks were already pretty much living their best lives a few years back. This move, combined with the drawdown of most federal COVID-19 relief money, would also shift the development of the vaccines and treatments away from the direct management of the federal government. Oh, goody. I can actually hear the chub in Bill Gates' pants. Of course, it was former President Trump that first declared the COVID-19 pandemic a national emergency on March 13th, 2020. And then since Dementia Joe took office, of course, in January of 2021, he has repeatedly extended the emergency declarations, even with Biden's newest declaration of getting rid of it. He did not go unscathed in Twitterverse. Michael J. Morrison, a member of the New York Young Republican Club, tweeted, "Isn't it cool how the science knows that on May 10th, COVID will still be a national emergency, but not on May 11th? Representative Paul Gozer wrote, "There is no reason to wait. There is no reason to trust the Biden regime. We're voting on my bill to end the COVID-19 national emergency declaration on Wednesday." Journalist Drew Hernandez tweeted, "Insane. Since news broke, Biden is supposedly ending the national COVID emergency on May 11th. Hashtag COVID is not over began to trend from the mass formation cult not wanting to end it. Here's a woke black guy demanding the government implement mask mandates. They want to be oppressed." Take a look.
Just watched a video of a creator speak on how politically unfeasible it is for local, state, and national governments all over the world to reinstate mask mandates, especially because of how unpopular they are with the public. I'm calling bullshit on that. You telling me y'all can't implement a mask mandate because y'all fear it would destroy your political credibility? Bullshit. Like, at this stage of the game, I want you to say it with your chest. Say that you hate poor people. Say that you hate disabled people. Say that you just hate people. You hate people with minds who think for themselves. You hate people who wants to protect themselves. You hate people who wants to opt out of this doggone system that's crumbling all around, and you can't do anything to stop it. Just say it with your chest. Say that you hate all that. Because that's what it is. That's what it is at the end of the day. You telling me you can't implement a mask mandate because it's unpopular. Bullshit.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Does this guy actually hear himself? Do you hate people that have minds that think for themselves? Everybody is a free thinker, including mask lovers or not. This guy actually is like a complete moron because what's coming out of his mouth right now doesn't even make any sense. What he's actually saying is he wants the government to not only think for him, but for everyone else. Mandates in and of themselves mean no free will. These woke assholes are like the poster children for stupidity. Do you hate poor people and disabled people? What in the hell do poor people and disabled people even have to do with mask mandates? So let me get this straight. Poor people and disabled people are more prone to COVID? Who says? Science? I mean, if he's somehow kind of implicating that poor people are less likely maybe to get the jab and therefore die from COVID, not only is he dense, but apparently he's unable to read as well because celebrities are all over the news just dying suddenly due to cardiac arrest. So you can't tell me it's not because of the jab. And I'm pretty sure celebrities are loaded with cash. So actually, sir, poor people and disabled people are actually living longer and just living in general because they aren't getting the jab. That is, of course, if he was even making reference to that to begin with, I mean, who knows? Or maybe he's trying to say that poor people and disabled people can't afford masks or can't find masks or don't know how to put masks on. I don't even know what this dickhead's talking about, but he needs to say what he means and mean what he says. I don't know. Because what I'm literally hearing is blah, 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 take away my ability to be a free thinker and control me. And the only whiff of bullshit here is emanating from this guy's mouth. And maybe some smoke. This idiot aside, though, the House ignored Biden's opposition and voted to immediately end the public health emergency related to COVID-19 and not waiting to the magic day of May 11th. It's dubbed the Pandemic is Over Act, which actually passed 220 to 210, garnering, of course, no support from the Democrats. However, on the second bill, Freedom for Health Care Workers Act, which would no longer force health care workers to be vaccinated against COVID, did garner some Democrat support and passed 227 to 203. Now, that bill's author, Republican Representative Jeff Duncan of South Carolina, tweeted, I'm proud that my bill, the Freedom for Healthcare Workers Act, just passed the House with a bipartisan vote of 227 to 203 to end Joe Biden's COVID vaccine mandate on healthcare workers. This is a win for medical freedom and individual liberty. Imposing the COVID shot on healthcare workers is unscientific and it's un-American, especially as we now know that COVID shot is ineffective at preventing transmission. This is an important step, but the fight is far from over. I'll continue fighting to end all of POTUS's remaining mandates. Good for him. On Wednesday morning, the FBI searched Biden's beach house outside Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, apparently warrantless. However, unlike sex with Hunter, it was consensual, according to sources. Biden's personal attorney, Bob Bauer, put out a statement that read, quote, under DOJ's standard procedures in the interest of operational security and integrity, it sought to do this work without advance public notice, and we agreed to cooperate. The search today is a further step in a thorough and timely DOJ process we will continue to fully support and facilitate. We will have further information at the conclusion of today's search. This, of course, comes off the heels of news on Tuesday where the FBI actually searched the Penn Biden Center looking for classified documents back in mid-November, but never previously disclosed that search. Republican Representative Ronnie Jackson of Texas tweeted, why are we just finding out now that the Penn Biden Center was searched by the FBI in November? I have no doubt this is a cover-up by the FBI. They did not want this information to be out before the election. The FBI concluded the search of Biden's beach house on Wednesday, saying agents found no classified documents. However, the Justice Department did take some materials and handwritten notes for further review. Biden's attorney said at the conclusion of the search, quote, the DOJ's planned search of the president's Rehoboth residences, conducted in coordination and cooperation with the president's attorneys, has concluded. The search was conducted from 8:30 a.m. to noon. No documents with classified markings were found. Consistent with the process in Wilmington, the DOJ took for further review some materials and handwritten notes that appear to relate to his time as vice president. Rob Carson of Newsmax tweeted, oh, piss off. Biden gets an announced and scheduled search of his home. Donald Trump got a jackbooted raid. Done with this crap. We're not stupid. Literally Biden was dealt with kid's glove made out of cotton candy, while Trump took a 2x4 to the face. But you know what really will grind your gears regarding all these documents found? The National Archives is being blocked from informing the public about the initial discovery of classified documents at Biden's former D.C. think tank by either the White House or the DOJ, which of course leads to a double standard that even Ray Charles could see, and how the National Archives and Records Administration, as well as the Justice Department, are prosecuting investigations of Biden and former President Trump for the alleged mishandling of classified documents. Republican Representative James Comey of Kentucky appeared on Fox's Sean Hannity to further explain the shit show.
That's why we brought in the National Archives today for our very first transcribed interview.
And can you tell us what happened? Did they shed any light on any of this?
Well, right before the National Archives came in, they handed us a letter from the Department of Justice informing them and us that the General Counsel for the National Archives wasn't allowed to say anything about the Biden documents. But we went ahead and we had about a 3+ hour transcribed interview with the General Counsel. And what we learned was there is a double standard here with how Donald Trump was treated versus Joe Biden. And I'll give you an example, Sean. If you go on the National Archives website, there's pages and pages of press releases and information about the FBI's raid into Mar-a-Lago and Donald Trump's possession of classified documents. But there's nothing on the website about Joe Biden. There wasn't any press release or anything on the website about Joe Biden. So we asked the General Counsel, why were there no press releases sent on Joe Biden once it was determined that he had classified documents in his possession? And the counsel said that he did do press releases, but he was ordered and told they couldn't be published. So
right,
we then asked who gave him the orders, and he said, I can't tell you that, but there are only two people that could have given him those orders, and that's either the Department of Justice with Merrick Garland or the White House with Joe Biden. So it shows right there that this Department of Justice and this White House is interfering with this and treating Donald Trump very differently than they're treating Joe Biden.
We must live in like an upside down world. The blatant preferential treatment Democrats in general receive supersedes that of any Republican. Yet we're the assholes and racist. Super cute. Speaking of racist, it seems when Democrats are lost for words or wisdom, the only word that they can seem to roll off their tongues is racist. Did you just pass your math exam? You're a racist. Does broccoli give you gas? You're a racist. Menstrual cramps got you down? You're a racist. You want to remove Ilhan Omar from the Foreign Affairs Committee over her blatant racist remarks about Jewish people? Well, not only are you racist, but you're going to force someone to go full-on preacher and in the interim mimic a race other than her own. Here, you'll see AOC yesterday not only getting angry about her BFF getting booted off the committee, but it seems she made her argument also double as her America's Got Talent audition of a preacher man trapped in a moron's body who clearly forgot to take her meds that afternoon. Watch.
Thank you. Now, as a fellow New Yorker, I think one of the things that we should talk about here is also one of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States of America. And this is an extension of that legacy. Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body. I had a member of the Republican caucus threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened. Thank you.
Then, of course, Ilhan herself was able to make her case and left the crowd wanting more.
I didn't come to Congress to be silent. I came to Congress to be their voice. And my leadership and voice will not be diminished if I am not on this committee for one term. My voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been. So take your vote or not. I am here to stay, and I am here to be a voice against harms around the world and advocate for a better world. I yield back.
But I think the award for best performance goes to Rashid Tlaib, who managed to cry a river on the House floor.
Desperation. So desperate to distract the American people from their total inability to govern. The GOP is now doing what it is best at, weaponizing hate against a black, beautiful Muslim woman. Congresswoman Omar's lived experience as a refugee and a child of survivor of war should be welcomed on this committee. It is needed. When you can't pass any bills that actually improve the people's lives, they turn Congress into a place of fear-mongering hate. It is so painful to watch. How ironic that the so-called lovers of personal freedom are now moving to censor Congresswoman Omar in the same week they introduced a bill to ban federal employees from engaging in censorship. Where are the free speech warriors today? The hypocrisy is obvious to the American people. You are showing who you all are, really.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
Omar will not be silenced.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
To Congressman Omar, I am so sorry, sis, that our country is failing you today through this chamber. You belong
The gentlewoman is no longer recognized, and the gentleman from Mississippi is recognized.
It's beautiful. This is a beautiful performance. Brought a tear to my eye. Tito, give me a tissue. It would seem, though, all of these goobers' auditions fell on deaf ears because the resolution actually passed 218 to 211 with just one rhino, David Joyce of Ohio, voting present.
On this vote, the ayes are 218, the nays are 211, with one answering present. The resolution is adopted.
It seems the former vice president, that is, Pence, isn't completely in the clear regarding classified documents. The FBI said yesterday they plan to pay Pence a little bit of a visit in the coming days. But don't worry, though. He, much like Biden, is getting the chance to schedule the search with his legal team, who is in talks with the Justice Department. Just to recap, last month, following the findings of classified documents by Biden's legal team, Pence's lawyer discovered that they too had discovered several documents with classification markings at his home in Carmel, Indiana. Copycat. The excuse was, well, the documents apparently were inadvertently packed up and transported unbeknownst to Pence. Reportedly, someone close to Pence, we think it might be his pet fly, has stated that Pence's legal team have already conducted a lengthy search of the home and they don't believe there are any additional classified documents laying around. Did y'all check behind the third shelf in his fridge behind his non-alcoholic beer? For those that love their gas stoves and would cut a bitch if anyone tried to take it from them, worry not. The most unlikely pair in D.C., Senators Joe Manchin and Ted Cruz, announced yesterday that they will be introducing bipartisan legislation to prohibit the Consumer Product Safety Commission from banning gas stoves. That's right. With all the bullshit like the illegal immigrant takeover of America, the homeless shitting on the streets, and fentanyl killing your kids, it seems gas stoves are at the utmost importance. I mean, who doesn't enjoy cooking with a gas stove? It warms your food in the pan more evenly than an electric stove. And in a pinch, you can light your cigarette with it when you're too drunk to find a lighter. The legislation known as the Gas Stove Protection and Freedom Act would prevent the commission from using federal funds to ban any new or existing gas stoves. It would also bar the commission from regulating gas stoves as, quote, a banned hazardous product, or from imposing any consumer product safety standard or rule on stoves that would otherwise result in a prohibition on the use or sale or otherwise substantially increasing their average price. Senator Joe Manchin said, they ain't gonna take his stove. Watch.
Gas, and I repeat, gas stoves have been in the news lately, and I've come out strongly against the Consumer Product Safety Commission pursuing any ban of gas stoves. In fact, I'm introducing legislation today with Senator Cruz that would ensure that they don't. And separately, sending a letter to the commission with Senator Langford seeking clarification about the commission's sudden desire to conduct an RFI on gas stoves. Yesterday, DOE published its first ever efficiency standard for cooktops, including gas stoves. Now, I've always been a proponent of energy efficiency, but the draft rule proposes efficiency levels that DOE says at the highest level up to 96% of gas stoves don't currently meet. I don't like where I think they're going with this, and I tell you one thing, they're not taking my gas stove out, and my wife and I would both be upset. Now, I know DOE is required to write a rule on stovetop efficiencies, and that is the beginning of this process, not a final rule. But in light of a broader concerns about the administration looking to find ways, and it truly is an indication, looking to find ways to push out natural gas, which basically the rest of the world wish they had an abundant supply that we do, to have this transition that will go on in our energy markets, doesn't make any sense at all. It really doesn't. But in light, and I've said before, if the federal government doesn't have any business telling American families how to cook their dinner, if there's technology down the road, and as we transition into the new technology, that's fine. But basically, retrofitting or removing stoves that people have had for years is not going to happen. I don't think it'll happen in any of our states. And I would be surprised for senators to be supporting that move.
And now from our clown chronicles, Finland recently introduced the world's first transgender national figure skater, Minna Maria Antikainen. Now, this little hidden gem has actually been on the scene for at least 6 years and initially started out under the name Markku-Pekka Antikainen. But I'm guessing it changed because Markku was too close to the name Mark, and Pekka sounds like a drunk guy in Boston saying the word pecker. which we all know makes reference to a man. Can't have that. So Mina Maria it is. It's amazing what 6 years of practice does to your triple Lutz. Absolutely nothing. And wow, he's so elegant on the ice. About as elegant as a goose walking in heels, drunk.
Well, Peter, we obviously enjoy when this stuff happens. We don't have to deal with it. We get dogs, cats, squirrels. But I say this is a first for us, Peter. A goose on the field. And I'll tell you why. I feel bad for the security guards that have to chase this thing around because it's just not happening. They probably go home to their wives, and their wives ask, "How was your day at work?" He's like, "I chased a fucking goose around. How do you think it was?" Anyways, this could go on for a little bit. Or maybe not. The goose is now getting airborne. And it looks like, yes, he will be exiting the stadium. He's going home to his family and his new baby geese that he just has. The nest is just outside the stadium, so... Oh, my God! Whoa! The goose has hit the scoreboard. He's down. That's not good. And well, luckily, there's one of those psychos from PETA or PETA, whatever that foundation is, that cares more about animals than they do the starving children in Africa. Peter, it's like, Lanny, relax. It's a fucking goose. Chill out.
Fucking guy.
Let's take another look at his face in the beginning. What the hell is that? Did he fart? I mean, what is he? Was he thinking this is a bad idea? Oh my God, did he have menstrual cramps? What's going on here? Oh, Jesus, take the wheel. The world is going to hell in a handbasket. See y'all next week. Good night.